My father slid the letter across the table like it was nothing. No eye contact. No explanation. Until you apologize to your sister, he said, your tuition stops today. Just like that. 3 years of college, 1 semester left, gone. Across the table, Emily sat perfectly calm, arms folded, that familiar little smile resting on her face. The smile she always wore when she knew the outcome had already been decided. My mother stayed silent, waiting. They expected me to break, to argue, to beg. Instead, I leaned back in my chair and said one word. Okay? For a second, nobody moved. Then Emily smiled wider. They thought I meant I'd apologize. What I actually meant was something very different. Growing up with Emily was like living beside a storm that never touched her, only me. She was the golden child, the charming one, the one who could do no wrong. If she missed a deadline, the teacher misunderstood her. If she broke something, it was an accident. If she hurt someone, they were too sensitive. And somehow, every problem found its way back to me. I studied harder, stayed quieter, learned early that arguing changed nothing. Still, I believed college would finally give me distance. Freedom. I worked for it, scholarships, part-time jobs, late nights. My parents promised they'd cover the rest. It was the only promise I ever trusted. Then last winter, Emily dropped out of her second college. Too stressful. Too demanding. Too many people jealous of her potential. A week later, my parents called a family meeting. Emily cried. Said she felt like she lived in my shadow. Said I made her feel small by always succeeding. I waited for the punchline. It never came. Instead, my father turned to me. You need to apologize. I actually laughed. I didn't do anything. My mother sighed like I'd disappointed her. Sometimes peace matters more than being right. I refused. That's when the threat appeared. Apologize. Or lose the tuition support. Back at the dinner table, after I said okay, everyone relaxed. They believed they'd won. Emily even muttered, finally. But what they didn't realize was that I had stopped playing their game years ago. And I pay attention. Very closely. The next morning, I went straight to the financial aid office. Quietly. Turns out universities take financial abandonment seriously. If a family suddenly withdraws support, aid packages can be reevaluated. They just needed proof. Conveniently, my father provided it himself. His email that night was short and clear. No apology. No tuition. I submitted it with the appeal. But that wasn't the interesting part. While filling out the forms, I learned something else. Years ago, my parents opened a college savings account. In my name. One designed specifically for my education. Recently, money had started disappearing from it. Transferred out. The destination account name was familiar. Emily. Apparently, her newest idea was launching a startup. My tuition money was her investment fund. I sat there for a long time staring at that screen. Then I did the calmest thing I could. I asked the university's legal aid clinic a simple question. Is that allowed? The lawyer's eyebrows lifted slightly. Not if the account is designated for you. 3 weeks passed. Quiet ones. My aid request was approved. Scholarship increased. Emergency grants added. My tuition problem vanished. Then the university sent my parents a letter. A polite one. Asking about the withdrawal of funds from my education account. 2 days later, my phone exploded. Missed calls. Messages. Voicemails. My mother crying. My father demanding explanations. Emily furious. I ignored every single one. Until Sunday dinner. The atmosphere that night felt completely different. Heavy. Careful. My father spoke first. You filed a report. I shrugged slightly. You cut my tuition. That's not the point. It is to me. Emily leaned forward. You're trying to destroy this family over money? I looked at her calmly. You tried to take my education. Silence fell over the table. My mother finally spoke. Just withdraw the complaint. Why? My father's jaw tightened. Because if this continues, it could cause legal trouble. There it was. Fear. For the first time in our lives, they weren't controlling the situation. My mother reached toward me. Please. Emily said nothing now. Her confidence had vanished completely. I stood slowly. Picked up my jacket. My father's voice sharpened. Where are you going? I paused by the door. Then I looked back at all 3 of them. Apologize. They blinked. Confused. For what? My father asked. For choosing her over the truth. I looked at my mother. For pretending you didn't notice. Then I met Emily's eyes. For believing I'd stay quiet forever. No one answered. Not one word. I nodded once. Thought so. Then I walked out. My tuition is fully covered now. The education account is locked and legally protected. Untouchable. And suddenly my parents call every week. Their voice is careful, nervous. Last night, my mother finally said something she never said before. We made a mistake. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. But I learned something important the night they tried to control me. For 22 years, they believed silence meant weakness. They were wrong. Silence just meant I was waiting for the right moment. And when that moment came, all it took was one word. Okay?